So I would be remiss in all of our musings if I didn't touch on peer review. I'll make this much larger. That's pretty good. That's probably about it. All right. What I want you to do, and we had some confusion here last time, so I'll try to help you navigate that if I can. But it's 6 questions. I like to keep it pretty spare. For those in my online class, you have this on Turnitin.com. It's a little bit easier there. These questions will be on Turnitin. It will also just give you a paper from one of your classmates, so there you go. For us, because they didn't trust the Wi-Fi, I wasn't going to mess with Turnitin in this room. I thought we'd still do it the old-fashioned way. One thing I'll say before we get into it, this goes for everybody. Different drafts will be at different parts in the production process, right? The most simplistic way to think about that is some will be longer than others. What I would say, whoever your partner is, wherever their draft is at, you don't have to look at the whole thing. I do not want to sit here for half an hour and watch somebody go through 4 pages from somebody else. We're not doing that. That's not what this is for, okay? All I would ask you to do, there's a couple questions that deal with the introduction specifically, and there's a couple questions that deal with body paragraphs specifically. Look at their introduction, obviously. And then at most, I would say, depending on how long they are, 1 or 2 body paragraphs from your partner's draft. That's all I'm requiring of you, okay? Because again, peer review is actually about you developing skills. It's not about you editing somebody else's work. So you do not have to go through an entire draft, okay? If you just want to for some reason, I guess that's your prerogative, but I'm not requiring that. In terms of these questions, I would hope most of them are fairly straightforward. This first question is most specifically about the roadmap. When we talk about specific ideas from their sources, that's what we built last time, right? When we built the introduction. Thesis, I would again hope is fairly straightforward. If you need to sort of think of how a thesis works in this paper, I've given you 2 examples now. One is in the prompt, and that one is pretty boilerplate, but it's helpful. The other one, again, we talked about last time. I would also say it's going to be damn hard to come up with a thesis for this paper without first developing a roadmap. So if they're missing this, you might try to help them like sort of reverse engineer a roadmap based on what they have, like that sort of thing. Topic sentences, we just talked about this. The best test I can give you, you read the first sentence of a paragraph and the question is just, is this an argument? Is this something you have to prove? Oftentimes not. And you could at least note that, right? No harm in going, nah man, this is just like summary or whatever. But then as you dive into the rest of the questions when it comes to the body paragraph, you can then be thinking about that. Do you see arguments emerge in the body paragraph? Hopefully. If so, where are they? Could you start to think about what topics and how they might sum that stuff up, right? It's basically what I want you to do here. Are there any questions about the questions?
So top of sentences, I feel like mine, rereading mine right now, it's a summary. So there would be wrong for half of that, correct?
Yes. But look, I would count that as a success in class. Better to know that now than next week when you've handed me the paper on it, right? And we may have a bit of time at the end of class too. We can talk about some of your, this is such a lame way to put it, discoveries like that. But yeah. A couple business items, a couple reminders, and then we will all go wherever it is we go after this class. First of all, as we've already touched upon, but I do need to remind you again, we don't meet on Monday. 4th of July is a big deal. It's a big holiday. Why we need another day for that, I don't know, but that's what was decided. Yeah, so what I will do, because you will have turned in this paper by Friday, we will still start the process for paper 3 next Monday, but it will not be here. I will make a video going over the prompt, the proposal. These are all things that are on CourseNet already. You can see them. but I still want to talk at you, I suppose, about it. So there will be a video coming to you, okay, on CourseDen. Also on CourseDen, and this has been there the whole time, this won't change, there is a discussion board for paper 3 where basically what we would have done in class is like, I like to do, because the source text for paper 3, you choose yourself. You pick a movie, usually, or a book, or a TV show, or something like that you enjoy. And you're going to talk about it for the final paper. But to start that process, on the board, we do like a brainstorming thing. And just all kinds of like, maybe this, maybe this, maybe this. The homework that's on CourseDen for next week will be that. Come up with 3 or 4 possibilities. I have you guys do that, first of all, to get you going, but also to get your classmates going. Because always 1 or 2 people at least are just kind of like lost. They're like, I don't know what to do. But if you look at what other people have said, usually they, like, oh yeah, or I could do this type of thing. That's really all that's going to be asked of you next week. I think. Always review the syllabus because I'm sure I'm leaving something out. But again, just to make sure everybody understands, if you come up here on Monday, I believe it will be locked. I don't think you'll be able to get in, so don't do that. Papers due Friday, turn it in, that's all the usual stuff. I think that's basically it. Do you guys have any questions for me about anything? Yes, sir.
I'm sure it's on the syllabus. Is that Thursday night or Friday night? I don't know why I was under the assumption it was about Monday morning.
No, Friday night, midnight.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the next paper,
Yes, sir.
is an argumentative paper?
Yes. So, and again, I'm trying not to peek ahead too much because that's all good. The reason I build the class this way, so paper 1 is straight up you and a text making an argument. Paper 2 is a little bit of a side street almost. It's like you still do a lot of the work we've done, but instead of making your own argument, you're going to engage with a bunch of different people's arguments. Paper 3 is taking both of those things and putting them together. So you're going to make your own argument about a text, okay? But then along with that, you're going to do research to either bolster your argument or complicate it in some way, or sometimes you'll find something you straight up disagree with, and use those to reinforce your claims. Does that make sense?
Does that have a name?
It's a research paper.
It's just a research paper?
Yeah. You'll sometimes hear it referred to as an argumentative synthesis. So what we're doing right now is an informative synthesis. Paper 3 is an argumentative one. But I like to call it what it is, which is a research paper. Yeah, I mean, what it is too, when we all get out of this class, if one day you decided to like write an article somewhere, right? Paper 3 is what they would probably expect from you. Like have your own ideas, but also be able to back them up with other people's ideas, type of thing. Other questions? Last thing I'll mention, I appreciate you reminding me. I said this, I think last class. Again, I want you concentrating on paper 2, but if somewhere between now and we'll say next Monday, although we won't meet until Wednesday, spare a couple thoughts for what might I pick for paper 3. If you land pretty hard on an idea, by the way, you should look at the prompt before you do that, but if you land pretty hard on, I think I'm going to do this, go ahead and start figuring out how you're going to watch or read that. Is it a movie you own? Excellent. Is it not because it's 2021 and who owns movies? Check Netflix, check Hulu, check Amazon, because what I would do, considering summer is so fast, I would have a first choice, and then I'd have a silver medal, If you can't find the first one, well then hell, what's the second? Second one's on Netflix? I'm doing that one, type of thing, right? Just because you want to make this a little easier on yourself as well.
I thought of another question.
Yes, sir.
Is the theme masculinity?
Generally, yeah. I mean, I would like it to tie into the class somehow. The good news is, again, that's everywhere, But almost always when a student hasn't directly tied into that, because I've always had somebody, it ends up tying in a way that they maybe weren't aware of to begin with. Because there's all kinds of sort of subheadings, right? There's fatherhood or this sort of responsibility that we put that figures prominently in all kinds of thematic narratives. All right.